Okay, Miss, I will start this event today. Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Visiting Lecture today with Osti Joseph, College of Engineering, India. Welcome to the Honorable Dr. Aruna as an Assistant Professor of Master Business Administration. And for the topic today is demand vs supply, how external and internal factor disrupt market equilibrium. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Novita and I will host you for today's event. Now, let please welcome our presenter. Welcome to the Honorable Dr. Aruna. Yeah, and we will start with main presentation. In the next session, we have Q&A session, and next is time for documentation and last time is closing. Okay, let's begin. We will start class presentation. Okay, Dr. Aruna, the time is yours. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you. Is my voice audible? Is my voice audible? Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello? Ma'am, am I
Ma'am, am I
audible?
audible?
Can you please check whether am I audible? Okay. Okay. So hope you all are aware about today's topic. So topic is demand and supply. So can we have a few questions? As according to you, what is demand and what is supply? Anyone? What is demand and what is supply? That is what is going to be our topic today. And we are going to discuss about the factors. What are the factors for demand and supply that is going to disrupt the market, right? First, we'll begin with demand. We'll discuss about demand and later on we'll move into supply. So first, what is demand? I hope the PPT is visible. Can anyone please answer? Is the PPT visible? Okay. So here you could see the definition of demand, right? So what is demand? So it refers to the willingness and ability of consumers to purchase a given quantity of a good or service at a given point in time over a period in time. So, okay. So here carefully if you read the definition, what do you mean by willingness, right? So willingness means though a consumer is having money, he should be interested in buying the product. Only then we call that as demand. Willingness, doesn't mere, a mere if you want is not a demand. Only if you have the money for buying a particular product, we call that as a demand. For example, I may like to purchase an Audi car, but if I don't have money, okay. So if uh, a person is not having money, just if he's he wants to buy an Audi car without money, then we don't accept that as a demand. So here willingness means the consumer should have the money and he should be interested in buying the particular product. Then that comes as demand. And the next point is what is very important here is time. Yes, when is he interested in buying the particular product, whether it's going to be today, tomorrow, after a month, or after a year? Why? Based on all this, definitely the price of the product will vary. Now, in emergency, if you want to buy a particular product, the rate that you're going to give for that is going to be more. But if you can postpone your need for buying a good or a service, you can buy at a reduced price. And here we could see the graph for demand. In x-axis, we have taken a quantity, and in y-axis, it is price. So by seeing this graph, what is that we can understand is there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity. So whenever price increases, what will happen to the quantity a consumer is going to demand? That will be less. For example, let us take if the price of a product is 20 rupiah, right? Then a consumer may be interested in buying 5 products. If the same price decreases to 10 rupees, instead of buying 5, he might be interested to buy 7 or 8. Now, from 20 rupiah, if it increases to 40 rupiah, then what will happen? The money in the hands of the consumer, that's going to be very, very less. So for that particular amount, he can buy a reduced quantity. So this is what is depicted from this graph. So there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity. So whenever price increases, the quantity of the product decreases. This is called as law of demand. Okay. So we all know in economics plays a vital role in everyone's life. Here in economics, we mean specifically the demand and supply. So every one of us are in need of buying one good or the other on our day-to-day basis. But how much are we going to buy? At what price are we interested in paying for that particular product? That will decide. So quantity is important, and also how many units at one particular time. So if there is going to be more price, so I might be interested in buying a reduced amount, and I'll be waiting. When the price reduces, I might be interested in buying some more amount later. Okay. And this is an important one, is what are the determinants of demand? So every day there are so many factors that decide the demand. The main is price. So that is what that we discussed in the earlier slide. That is a law of demand. So price and quantity are inversely relationship. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity. But still, there are few other factors which determines demand. So it is income, taste, prices of related goods, number of buyers, a population of a particular state or a country or a family, consumer expectation. What is it? What do they expect from a particular vendor, and the climate and weather? We'll discuss all this shortly. So first, price of a product. So sometimes, like whenever that we go to a market, do you think that the price is going to be a static one? No. Today it might be sold at one particular price, and tomorrow or after 1 week when you go, sometimes yes, there will be slight fluctuations, but sometimes there could also be a drastic change in the price. So when our price increases, so what is that we have discussed so far? As per law of demand, the quantity will start decreasing. When price decreases, quantity will increase. So this is what we call as law of demand. Next, income. So income we all know, right? So why are we coming to college? To study And after studying, what is going to be each and every one of us ambition is we have to get placed in a very good company. Why? To earn. So after earning, what are we going to do with the money earned? Yes, we need to spend for our day to day, whatever that we need. We need to spend money. So for how many years can a student be dependent on their parents, right? So when we start earning, what are we going to do? We will save some amount and we will also spend for our expenditure. So let's begin. When you start a career, always the income is going to be less. So when income is less, what a consumer will do, he will buy, his demand for goods is going to be less. Later on, when his income starts increasing, so what will happen? Consumption of a person will also tend to increase. So as income increases, demand will also increase. And if a person's income starts decreasing, then what will happen? What will happen? Can anyone answer? Our consumption will also start to decrease. So any doubt so far? Can anyone please reply? Any doubt so far? Is my voice audible? Okay. So what are the food items that you could see in the slide? How many of you like these food items? What's the first thing? It's Coke, burger, pizza. Which one that you like to eat and why? Which is going to be your favorite food here? A pizza, a burger? Any reply, please? Am I audible? Can anyone please answer? Okay. So why do we buy this pizza, burger? Why? It is for the taste of a particular product. So once you go to a restaurant, you order a pizza and you like to have a French fries, burger. If you like the taste, what do? We tend to consume more. We may also recommend that to our friends. We might try to buy it the next time. But if at all, if we don't like the taste of a pizza or a burger, so what do? Uh, will we visit the same restaurant again? No, right? So here also applies the same thing. So if a consumer likes the taste of the product, then the demand for that product will also increase. On the other hand, because if a consumer is not satisfied with the taste of a product, he might ignore. He might feel that, that's going to be a waste of money for whatever that he has spent. So he will not recommend it again, nor he doesn't like to visit the same restaurant again. The next, very, very, very much important is price of related goods. So here, related goods, we are going to discuss about two goods. One is a substitute good, the other one is a complementary good. Okay. So why that we have to discuss about the substitute good is always the budget, the income, the money, whatever that you are having in your hand, that is going to be a constant one, right? Just because of our willingness, our eagerness to buy more product, The money in our hand is not going to change. Okay, so the money is not going to change. Now, let's assume uh, we like to have we like to drink coffee. Now, the demand for coffee is more, but the supply is less. So what will happen? The price of thank you for whomever has responded in the chat. Uh, right. So I like to have a coffee always. Morning whenever I get up, my first intention is to have a good coffee. Now let's assume if the price of coffee increases, but my budget is going to be the same. There's not going to be any alternative for it. So if coffee price increases, what might happen? What might happen? Is it possible for me to afford all the time? No. So what I will do? I might start shifting that to tea. Why? If you just assume tea and coffee, always it's going to give only one to the consumer. It's nothing but a morning refreshing drink, right? So this is what we call it as a substitute good. You're just going to alter one with the other. I don't know how many of you really know the real taste of Coke or Pepsi. A person who usually consumes only Coke, he will never change. So even if the price increases, also he will be ready to compromise. He likes to have a little sip rather than going for a bigger quantity. But for a person, well, that doesn't matter, for Coke or a Pepsi. So what will happen if Coke price increases? He might change that to with Pepsi. And if Pepsi's price increases, what a person can do? He will change to a Coke. So what you guys will do? Do you have any substitute goods in your mind which you are doing? That is, instead of a tea, do you go for a coffee? Instead of a Coke, do you drink Pepsi? Instead of McDonald's, anyone will go for a Burger King or a Burger King from McDonald's? That you have to answer. So this we call it as a substitute good. So when a consumer goes for a substitute good is when the price of one good increases, which is going to give the same satisfaction by consuming the other product, yes, then he can substitute that very well. Here, complementary goods. How many of you like to play? You like to play cricket, tennis? So whenever that you buy a cricket bat, immediately what is that you do? For playing cricket, you need a ball. Similarly, for tennis also. You can also see one other picture, a paper and a pen. How many of you are allergy towards it? Which one that you like to play or to write? Now, whenever we buy a notebook, what is going to be the immediate need? We need a pencil, we need a pen to write. So this we call it as a complementary good. And one product's demand is going to cause another product's demand, that we call it as complementary goods. So whenever that we buy a tennis racket, we have to buy a ball. Whenever that you buy a cricket bat, you have to buy a ball. Similarly, whenever that we buy a note, we are in need of a pen. And I really don't know how many of you have the habit of using ink pen in those days, when we are educating in our schools. Ink pen was must. We have to write only using ink pen. But nowadays, I hope this generation, you're not using much of ink pens. So if you have to use ink pen, again, what is it we have to buy? We have to buy an ink bottle. So this ink bottle, we call it as a complementary good and added on demand. So whenever there is going to be a demand for one product, it creates a demand for another product. So assume that you're buying a petrol car or a diesel car. So after purchasing car, what we have to do? We have to buy a diesel or a petrol to travel, right? So this buying a diesel or a petrol, this we call it as a complementary good. So in prices of related goods, we have two goods. One is a substitute good and the other one is a complementary good. A number of buyers. The number of buyers also decides how much demand is going to be. So you could see two pictures here, right? One is purchasing a car, and the other one is going to, it looks like purchasing vegetables or fruits. Among this, for which you think the buyers are going to be more? Yes, that's going. It's none other than our, day-to-day essentials like fruits, vegetables, grains. So the number of buyers for those type of products is going to be more. And on the other hand, for luxury goods like a car, then AC, or what can be the other luxurious goods, right? For that, the number of buyers is going to be less. So the product demand is also dependable on the number of buyers who can afford that particular good. Whenever you take essential goods, the necessary goods, yes, we can't skip without buying it, right? We need it, for our day-to-day consumption. We can't postpone that. So whenever we are hungry, can we postpone our eating to tomorrow? That can't happen. So that have to happen the same single day. But what about your car purchase? Can that be postponed? Yes, that can be postponed. So we just wait. What's going to be our dream car and what color it should be? Or that should be a diesel car or a petrol car, or that's going to be a CNG. We also have a hybrid model, electric model, are planning for car that's going to be occasionally once or twice in our lifetime, right? So we decide on so many factors before buying. So obviously, the number of buyers will also vary based on the number of the goods that we are going to consume. Population. So here you could see two families. One family it's a neutral family, parents and with your children, two children. The other side that you could see, it's having three generations, right? Grandparents, parents, and children. So based on this, you could say that the demand for which family is going to be more, the neutral family or the joint family? Yes, it's the joint family. Why? Because there is the number of person living in the particular home house is going to be more, and they demand more goods and the services. Similarly, the population of a country, population of a state, and you could see that population of India and China is more. So the demand for basic consumption goods for these two countries is going to be more, and even we could say that the developed countries, yes, the demand is also going to be more, but for what products that decides, right? Okay, so the population will decide the demand for a particular good. Consumer expectations, right? So whenever that you decide to buy a product, what all that we seek from the company, we take so much into consideration before buying an Android phone or iPhone. What is that we decide? We decide on so many factors. So what's going to be the price, or what type of service the phone is going to give, and if at all if you need any support, will that be any assistance? Uh, what type of solution that you're going to buy an Android phone or an iPhone? The basic purpose of buying a phone is always communication. But just check, do we buy a phone only for communication? No, right? We also use it nowadays for the social media, whatever an Android phone or iPhone is providing. So all this. So before buying a product, obviously the expectation, the consumer expectation will definitely vary. And if you have so much of expectation from a product, if they satisfy it, yes, the demand for that particular product is going to be more. On the other hand, if the consumer expectation from a particular product after buying it, if that is going to be less, what do? We just tend to ignore it. Climate and weather. The climate and weather will also decide the demand for goods and services. How many of you like to eat ice cream? I hope everyone likes to eat ice cream. But when do we like to eat ice cream more? Whether that's going to be in summer season or in winter season. It is going to be in winter season. And one more that we could see, when the demand for umbrella is going to be more. Nowadays, in both rainy season and the summer season, we need to carry umbrella to shield us from the sunlight or the rain. But the basic purpose, the basic utility for umbrella, when that's going to be more, it is in rainy season rather than summer season. And without ACs, nowadays, you can't just stay during summer season. So the sales for ice cream, the sales for AC, that's going to be more in summer season. And the need for umbrella is going to be more during winter season. So climate and weather also decides what type of good a consumer is going to buy. Okay. So any doubts so far on the factors of demand? If you have any doubt, we can clarify and go for the next slide. So we have discussed this demand curve right in the beginning of the definition of demands, right? So demand curve slopes downward. Why it is sloping downward? Because there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. If price increases, what will happen to the quantity demanded? That will become less. Now, we are going to discuss about the shift in the demand curve. So here you could see two new graphs, always DD. Okay, these alphabets that we use to denote demand. So whenever there is going to be an increase in demand, what will happen? The demand curve will shift towards the right direction, D1, D1. So this D1, D1 is the new demand curve that is shifting towards the right direction. So whenever there is more demand, you could see that for the same price, the quantity demanded is going to be more. On the other hand, D2, D2. So this denotes decrease in demand where the demand curve is shifting towards the left. So this should be the basic understanding before going for the market equilibrium, right? So the demand curve, there is going to be two shift. One is rightward shift that we call it as increase in demand. And the other one is going to be a leftward shift that we call it as a decrease in demand. So both will occur, right? So just imagine during a festive season, the need for flowers is going to be more. So during that particular time, what will happen? The same price also, people will be willing to buy more. Or if there is going to be an increase in price also, people tend to buy flowers. Why? It's going to be the culture of a country, the culture of a festival, the culture of an occasion. But will we spend the same amount if there is not going to be any function or festival? No. So the demand will start to decrease. Okay. So far, whatever we have discussed, that is all about demand. Now, we'll go to the next topic, that is supply. Before going to supply, we must keep two things in mind. Demand always that we discuss from a consumer point of view. And supply, on the other hand, it's going to be from the producer point of view. Okay. So there is an inverse relationship between quantity and price. Okay. So we could see that the supply curve is moving upward. So what does that denote by moving upward? There is a direct relationship between price and quantity. A supplier will be interested to supply more when the price of the product shoots up. For example, sometimes that you could see, right? the price of onion and the price of tomato shoots up. Why? Why? That's because of supply. So whenever the supply is less, okay, the price of the product will be more. So that particular time, the farmer will be so much happy in selling his 1 kg of tomatoes or onions at a higher price. The other time, he might, sell the same thing for a 10 rupiah or a 20 rupiah. But when he could sell it for a 200 rupiah or 100 rupiah, just imagine how much of profit that he's going to earn. Yes, so a farmer, he will definitely be happy if he could sell the same quantity of a product at a higher price. So this we have to understand a producer point of from the producer point. Now, we are going to discuss about the factors, the determinants of supply. So, what are the factors a producer keeps in mind before supplying a particular product? As we have discussed in demand, now we are going to discuss on the factors for supply as well. So, the first product. So, the first factor is going to be price. So, this is what we have discussed. Just check in this picture that you could see the price of gold. So right from 1980 to 2004, if you see the price of gold, okay, the price is very less. It's 400 rupiah, 400 rupees, okay, and not beyond that. But later that we could see the price of gold has shooted up like anything, and now you could know, right? The market price of gold is more. Why? Always goals the demand we can determine, right? So if there is any war, if there is any fluctuation, and if US president is going to give any new message, then we could see all immediately gold price will shoot. Why? Because of instability. People like to buy gold always. Why? Because its value never goes, it never drops, right? It gives more profit. You can sell it at a very good price. You have so much of gold. So now, a gold, let's say a gold vendor, when he likes to supply more in the market, when the gold price is more or when the gold price is less, he will always supply only when the gold price is going to be more. Why? Because the same quantity now, he could sell at a higher price. His profit margin is going to be more. So the first point is price of the products. Next, prices of related goods. We could see here, it's the picture looks funny. The Coke and the Pepsi are, fighting. For what? For market share. For the number of consumers whomever is going to buy Coke or a Pepsi. But here, from a supplier point of view, he should think whether he should market Coke or he should market Pepsi. By marketing which product that he can earn more profits. So that is what he likes to sell, right? That is what he likes to buy more and he likes to sell. Always for a seller, he has to earn more margin, more profit. That will be his ambition, right? And no one is here for a service. So let's say a farmer. Take a farmer. His piece of land will remain the same. So in the same piece of land, he will decide which product that he needs to grow. It's going to be turmeric or it's going to be wheat or rice. So which product gives him more profit that he will start producing in the same field. Similarly for a restaurant chain or a supermarket. So which product a consumer buys more, they will start supplying that particular product more. Why? Because only one thing, yes, that's going to be none other than profit. Now, the next factor, factors of production. There are 4 factors of production. It is land, labor, capital, enterprise. Enterprise is nothing but the entrepreneurs who take the risk of producing a particular product. So let's take any product. Let it be a pen, let it be a bottle, let it be a Coke or a burger, whatever it is, right? So to produce that, what an entrepreneur needs, he needs land, he needs a shop, he needs a place, where he can produce his goods. The next is labor. Let it be whatever product, right? Though now we say that machines are replacing human beings, but machines can't replace 100% human being. So there is always a combination of machines and human, the labor there. So for producing a particular product, how much of labor he needs, whether he needs more or whether he needs less, whether he needs a skilled people or whether an entrepreneur needs an unskilled people, whether he needs an educated person or whether he needs an uneducated person. So what will be the salary that he is going to pay for them? If at all, if he pays more salary, what will happen to the price of the product that they're going to purchase? That will also be more. So all these factors will definitely determine the price of a particular product. Next, capital. Capital is how. How are we going to produce a particular product? And whether what type of machines that we need, how much of money that he needs. All this we call it as capital. For example, you take uh, producing a pen and producing a car, for which they require more money for a pen or a car. Yes, that's going to be a car rather than a pen, right? And the space for producing per car is going to be more compared to a pen. And skilled people for labor for producing a car, that's the need compared to a pen. So all these four factors of production decides the price of a particular product, that will determine how much that particular product can be supplied in the market. The next slide, we could see technology, right? Have you ever thought that there will be a discussion, there will be a classroom over a Zoom meeting 50 years back, 40 years back, 30 years back? No. All this became more popular during pandemic, during, we could see this 10 years, not beyond that. So technology, we could see that each and every day, every second, we could see that technology is improving. Are you seeing a farmer is using the same old methodology of producing now? Have anyone visited the field? Is he not using a variety of machines, which is not used in olden days? And nowadays, it could we could see that we all have partnered with AI, even for finding an answer to a question, rather than using our brain. What are we just saying? We're just searching what could be the answer. And we do have AI, right, for replaying us for all this. So technology is a boom now, and technology is progressing in all the fields. Let's say whatever the products that you take, technology in that particular field is has improved. So whenever technology enhances, what will happen? Same producer, he can produce more number of goods in a limited time. He can use it very efficiently. The cost of producing that is going to be less. So technology plays, a vital role nowadays. We have to keep us updating. A producer has to keep updating. If he is not doing, then technology might become obsolete. So with obsolete technology, what will happen? The cost of producing one particular good is will be more. Next. Supply also determines on the number of producers. How many players are there for producing one particular product? For example, you can take rain. How many producers are there? Hardly in a developing country. Government does that. There is no competitor for it. Railways is a monopoly. And if you could say the phones, here you could see there are 10 players, listed. Similarly, you can take you can buy before buying a pen, you could see that at least some 20 or 30 varieties of different colors, different brands, is available in the market. So here, what is that we had to learn is if the producers are more, supply is going to be more. When producers are less, supply is also going to be less. So it's nothing but imagining a number of farmers for producing tomatoes. If there is going to be only a few farmers who's going to produce tomato, then what will happen? Supply of tomatoes in the market will be less, and the price will start increasing. On the other hand, there are so many number of farmers for producing tomatoes, then supplies will be more and prices will start falling. So the number of producers in the market, they will also determine how much they can supply it in the market. The next important concept here is taxes and subsidies. So we all know that every country, every citizen pays tax to the government. It can be in the form of a direct tax or it can be indirect tax. For each and every product that you consume, we are paying indirect tax to the government. And a person who is employed, he will be paying a direct tax. That's nothing but income tax. But the slab rates, that varies across country. So here you could see almost 5 countries that is listed. So the maximum individual tax rate, it's more. Here, as per this data, it is South Africa, China, it is 45 percentage. And Russia is the one where it is less, 15 percentage. And corporate tax, if you see, it is Brazil. They're collecting more, 34 percentage. And whereas in Russia, it is 20. Then in India, it's 30, China 25, and South Africa, it is 28 percentage. Tax plays, a prominent role here for suppliers. So if they are going to pay more amount of their income as tax to the government, then what will happen to their profit margin? The profit will be less, right? So when the tax rate decreases, the producers will be willing to produce more. On the other hand, if the tax rate increases, what will happen? They may not be interested, or you can't say they may not be interested. They may have to compete with some other, so that their revenue will start. They will have a decent revenue. And subsidies, on the other hand, it is paid by the government to the people for producing. For example, you could take so many countries uh, where they want to promote the rural place. So what government will do, they will start giving subsidies more to a producer who will produce at the rural place. Why? Because the economic growth, economic prosperity need to happen at throughout the country, and that should never be destined only to the urban place. Mainly, the cities or the urban side. So taxes and subsidy. So from a producer point of view, what he might expect is his subsidy should be more, and the tax, whatever that he is going to pay to the government, should be less. So this is a graph, similar graph that we have discussed for demand. And now we are going to discuss it for supply. The supply curve, as we discussed earlier, it is upward sloping, right? It is basically for the law of supply. So as per law of supply, there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supply. If the price of a particular product is going to be more, a producer will be ready to supply more. On the other hand, if the price drops, supply will also drop. So here we can see two graphs, graph 1 and graph 2. Graph 1 is depicting decrease in supply. So when the price drops, a producer will be interested to supply only lesser quantity. So the supply from S1, it is dropping to S2. And in graph 2, we could see it is, graph 1 is increase in supply and graph 2 is decrease in supply. Always decrease will be towards the leftward side. So here you could see that from Q1, he will start giving only to Q2. So this is what we call it as increase and decrease in supply. Here we are assuming the demand to be constant one, right? So demand is constant. Demand is not going to change. Only the supply alone changes. Okay, now we are coming to our topic, market equilibrium, right? So what is market equilibrium? Here we could see two lines intersecting. The downward sloping D1, that is nothing but the demand curve, whatever that we have discussed. And S1 is going to be the supply curve, that is upward sloping. Now, when this demand and supply intersect, this particular point, we call that as equilibrium point. So what is equilibrium point? Both the producer and the consumer, they are, accepting for a particular price to buy and sell at a desired quantity. So here we could see that this Q1 is going to be the desired quantity. Now, if price is going to be more, yes, suppliers will sell more. They will supply more. But what about consumer? They will be interested in buying only lesser quantity. So this will lead to producer surplus, right? So there is more supply in the market, but the demand is going to be very less. On the other hand, when the price is very less, consumers like to buy more products at a reduced price, but suppliers will supply only less, right? So here we call it as consumer surplus. So consumer surplus means, what is it? Consumers are more in buying a particular product, but the producer will supply only but less. And this can't withstand for a long time. So both slowly what they will do, uh, the consumer will start accepting more price. The supplier will tend to reduce the price, and they both will agree at this particular point. This point we call it as equilibrium quantity. The corresponding price is called as equilibrium price, and the quantity at which they are selling, that is called as equilibrium quantity. Okay. So what will happen if there is going to be a change in demand or a supply? How this is going to disrupt the market? Here, in the first graph, what is that we are assuming? Here, demand is constant, but supply is going to change, right? So when there is going to be more supply for the same demand, what will happen? When supply increases, but demand is same, more products and less demand. So what will happen? Price will start decreasing. So when the quantity starts increasing from Q1 to Q2, when there is more quantity supply, but when the demand is less, price will start to drop. Now, the second thing that you could see here. Okay. So here, when there is lesser supply, but the demand is going to remain the same, but supply is less. What will happen? Slowly, the price will start increasing. From P1, now it is increasing to P2. So here we do have, two more graphs where we are assuming supply, the upward sloping supply curve to be constant, and the demand is going to change, right? So here we are seeing a rightward shift, that is increase in demand. So when the demand increases, but still if the supply is going to be same, what will happen? Price will start increasing from P1 to P2. On the other hand, when there is decrease in demand, but the same supply, okay, there is only less number of consumers for a particular product, what will happen? Price will start decreasing from P1 to P2. So we are seeing two situations where there is going to be price drop. One, with the same demand, supply should be more. The other hand, for the same supply, demand should be less. And we are seeing two situations where there is going to be price hike. So for the same demand, less supply. And the other one, same supply, more demand. Okay. So these two situations. So based on this only that we could see, sometimes, for during festive season, right? The supply of the product is same, but when more people want to buy, what will happen? Price will start increasing. And you could also see sometimes, vegetable vendor, he could sell his product at a lower price during late nights. Why? He's having supply. He wants to, sell off his product. The demand for buying a vegetable at that particular time is going to be less. So he gives up at a reduced price. Now, so far we have discussed about the internal factors. Now, we are going to discuss on the external factors, how that affects the market. Suddenly, we could see some natural disaster, right? Um, what all can be a natural disaster? If there is a flood, so we know, right? We are all living in the coastal places where we have Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal, right? What might happen? Suddenly, cyclones form. So, if cyclone forms, then what will happen? We could expect the unexpected flood, cyclones. So, during that particular time, during the disaster, what will happen? The demand for the necessities, the basic things will start to increase. The next external factors, changing consumer preferences on demand. Do you think that are we going to demand the same product every day, every month? We can also be a loyal customer, but for how many months, how many years? The preference for buying our product will definitely change. Being a student, right? The buying pen, that's going to be mandatory. But later on, do you think that the same number of pens that we are going to buy? Not really. And our preference for eating junk food, that will be more during young age. And when you grow older, what will happen? Do you think that your preference for eating, your eating habit is going to be the same? No. Your dressing style, that will definitely change when you work, when you study, when you're a small child. So this consumer preference on demand, it keeps on changing. We like to explore more and more for whatever money that we are going to pay. Then the impact of technological advancement. Our technological advancement, mainly like we like to show off, is going to be our phone. What type of phone that what type of phone that you are using? Android phone or an iPhone, even if it is an Android phone, what's going to be the price of the particular phone? What are the features that it has? And for how many years are you going to hold the same phone? When it changes, what will happen? We also like to change. We all know, right? First, it started with the button phones. Then you could see flip phones, and now the latest technologies, whatever we are having. Can we anticipate, the same as well life for the next decade? Definitely no. And the impact of government policies on demand and supply. So government policies also will change from a period to demand, from time to time, right? They might frame a new policy. Their policy can favor a few products, and if they charge more tax on luxury product, then the producers will incur very less revenue. So based on the government policies also, the producer, how much that they're going to produce will definitely affect the market. So these are the four, major factors that affect the market. So what is this picture that you could see? In which country? Any guess? What is the man carrying on his head? Can anyone text? Why that he needs it? Why the common people, agitating for a gas cylinder? See, pandemic and geographical conflicts, um, we can't anticipate, right? Day-to-day price fluctuation, we can anticipate what will be the prices in the next few months. But suddenly, if it passes, what will happen? The supply is going to be very, very less. And the demand for each and every product, that continues to be the same. And who can pay? So what is happening here? The supply is becoming less, but our demand for the necessities is going to be more. So obviously, what will happen? Price will start increasing. Who can pay more price? A common man, a rich people, middle class people, for whom that's going to be affordable. It's only for a rich person. They are not, going to get too much affected. But what will happen to the common man? Is it possible for him to buy the necessities for daily consumption at a higher at a higher price? That's not possible. So definitely that's going to be a market disequilibrium where that we could see that the demand is more, supply is less, and this gives rise to a more increase in price leading to inflation. That is what we are seeing here. That's what we are seeing here, right? So the gas cylinder, it's not available to everyone, and if a person wants to buy, he have to pay more price for it, and that is not possible for a normal man. Okay. So this situation, I have taken this picture from Sri Lankan economic crisis that which you might have noticed. Even now, also it's prevailing, but I know after before 2 years, it was more. The goods were sold at a very exorbitant price, and people were not. They didn't have that much of money to buy that. And when you are your the next question. See, government can't intervene too much. Let's say uh, if the tomatoes price or onions price keeps on increasing, when the producer within the country, if they can't, if they can't supply to that extent, what a government can do is they can relax their external policies here. So they can give more favor for importing those prices from other countries which are cheap, right? So we can't say that price of goods is going to be the same in all the country. So when you import those goods, what will happen? Automatically supply will start increasing. When supply increases, what can happen? Price will come down. This is one immediate action what a government can take. But if it continues the same, then what will happen? The domestic producer will get affected. So they might also give subsidies for producing that particular product more. So by this also the government can intervene in controlling the price shoot up. And in few countries we could also see rationing, right? So even though if you have money, everyone can't buy how many that you want. Rationing means the government will decide how much of each good a common man can buy. Beyond that limit, the government will not allow. So now we all know, right? There is the war that's happening between which two countries? Israel that you could find from this slide. What's the other country? It's Israel and Israel and Iran. So whenever a war shoots up, what will happen? The people in both the countries are going to get affected. Why? The supply of essentials will start decreasing. It is going to be riskier. Prices will be sold at a higher price, and it might also be riskier for them to come from their safe place to purchase those. Here, why Israel's attack on Iran is going to have a major impact is we all know that Iran is a country which supplies crude oil. If Iran indulges in war, when it has to um, give more amount of its money for war related goods, so what will happen? Their exports of crude oil will start decreasing. So when the supply decreases in the market, what will happen to the price of crude oil? That will increase. And one more, gold. Whenever that you could see, whenever a war shoots up or when people will like to save only in terms of gold, they may not rely on shares of prices. And gold is a one which is very very stable for saving. Why? Because in the history that we could see, nevertheless, gold price has come down. So people will start comparing gold and dollar. And during all this, uh, uh, a war related time, people will start savings in terms of gold. So gold price will also shoot up. What is this? Can anyone guess? What is this? You can see that people standing in a line for getting the most wanted drinking water, and it is not available in surplus. They have to wait. They have to wait for their turn to get. This is during a cyclone period, right? So during a cyclone period, what basically people expect, they need a good water for consumption and food to eat. We don't rely on our luxury goods during cyclones. Let it be a rich people or a poor, whomever it is, right? Our basic necessity is going to be only for water and for food. And even when the government announces, or it gives a warning of red alert or orange alert, what do we do? What do we do? What type of goods that we purchase and we keep it ready in our house? That's going to be the basic goods. So even the particular time, you could see that price will start increasing. Why? Because we all start buying more goods to keep ourselves safe during a cyclone. Okay. So this is what so far that we have discussed. It's about the internal factors and the external factors that is causing demand and supply, and how that disrupts the market. Whether price increases or whether price will decrease. Whether is it possible for a common man to buy? If not, what a government can do. Any questions? Any questions?
Yes, ma'am. We have some question from participant already
Yeah.
read in the Zoom chat.
Yes. Or can the internal factors such as innovation or a change in consumer behavior sustainably shift equilibrium, or do they create a temporary imbalance? It will definitely shift the equilibrium. That's not going to be, we can't say that as, temporary one. Why? Innovation keeps on changing, right? We can't rely on one particular technology. What that we feel is a innovation today, that's not going to be for tomorrow. So the consumer behavior will also start changing. We are not going to stick on to the same product lifelong. We like to explore the innovation that is happening, possible if we have money. So it will definitely have an impact on the consumer behavior. So I hope I have answered the previous two questions, how government can disrupt. Any other question?
I guess no one else asking again, ma'am. Okay, before I close this event, yeah, for all participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three for documentation. Yeah, one, two,
Yeah.
three. Yeah. Okay, thank you for your cooperation.
Thank
Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to thank you for Dr. Dr. Aruna for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all participants. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future with ST Joseph College Engineering India. The visiting lecture for today and here. We hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity that's given. It's nice to interact with the students. And brilliantly, you have asked the three questions, which I was able to answer.